Welcome back to the land of the Shadow People, where the line between the known and the world of shade and shadow fade away. I am your host, Eric, and tonight we're heading up to the hills of West Virginia, to a tiny town called Flatwoods. The year was 1952, when the Cold War was pushing every fear button in America. Fears of invasion, fear of radiation, fear of the skies. But on one September night, what came down from the sky wasn't a Soviet threat. It was something much stranger. Something the locals would never forget. September 12th, 1952. School had just let out for the weekend in Flatwood West Virginia. Around dusk, a group of boys between the ages of 10 and 17 were playing football on the school grounds. Suddenly, they saw something streak across the evening sky. A fiery red ball, trailing smoke, arched downward towards a nearby hill. It wasn't uncommon to see meteors, but this one looked close. Too close. The boys bolted to see where it landed. On the way, they stopped by one of the boys' house and told his mother. Caitlin May decided to grab a flashlight and go with the boys to see what they had saw. What happened next would become one of America's most chilling UFO encounters. When they reached the hilltop farm owned by G. Bailey Fisher, they saw something strange, a pulsing light coming from beyond the trees. The air had a thick metallic smell, and the mist hung low to the ground. Then the flashlight beam landed on something none of them could explain. A towering figure, maybe 10 feet tall, standing in the shadows. Its head glowed like a spade or an ace of clubs, with two port-like holes gleaming orange-red for eyes. The body looked like armor or metallic. Some say it floated, not walked. One of the boys described it as mechanical. Others described it as alive but yet robotic. Then it emitted a shrill hiss, a burst of light. The group turned and ran for their lives back down the hill, choking on foul odor like burning fiberglass. One of the boys fainted. Kathleen May said her eyes burned for days. News spread fast through Flatwoods. Within hours, reporters, police, and even the U.S. Air Force were on site. Official story? Maybe a meteor, maybe hysteria. But the locals refused to shrug it off. The strange odor lingered. Some claimed they could see the oily residue where the figure stood. Dogs were reported ill for days afterwards. Charleston Gazette ran a front-page story the next morning. Monster seen by Flatwood Group. Within days, the small town was swarmed by journalists, curiosity seekers, and skeptics. The U.S. Air Force classified it as part of Project Blue Book, their official investigation into the UFO phenomenon. Their conclusion? The monster was likely an illusion, maybe a barn owl perched on a tree branch, framed by the red glow of a meteor in the background. The locals, they didn't buy that. Kathleen May stood on her story for the rest of her life. What we saw wasn't an owl, she said. It was like nothing I've ever seen since. Over the decades, the Flatwood Monster became part of West Virginia folklore, standing alongside Mothman, the White Things, and other Appalachian mysteries. Theories range from extraterrestrial visitors to government experiments gone wrong. Some UFO researchers claim that the creature matched descriptions of a spacesuit seen in other alien encounters of the era. Bulky, metallic, with glowing visors. Others think the figure was indeed biological, but not from this earth. The spade-shaped head, they said, might be a kind of helmet. The noxious odor, maybe propulsion exhaust. Then there's the skeptical explanation. A meteor sighting followed by a misidentification of an owl or a tree silhouette mixed with fear in the dark. A textbook case of mass hysteria. Yet, that is the beauty of folklore. It's not just what happened, it's what people believed happened. Every retelling shapes the story a little bit more, turning one terrifying night into a lasting legend. Today, Flatwood embraces its monsters. Visitors can find the Flatwood Monster Museum. Welcome to Braxton County sign is marked with its iconic spade-shaped head and even oversized monster chairs where you can snap a photo. What started as a night of terror became a symbol of local pride and a reminder that small towns can hold big mysteries. Whether you see it as a case of mistaken identity or a brush with something not of this world, Flatwood Monster endures to become into something deeper, fear and wonder what might be watching in the skies. Maybe it was a meteor, maybe it was a visitor, or maybe, as many locals still whisper, something came down to Braxton County that night looking for something and left before anyone could understand what it was. Well, thank you for joining me on this journey in the land of the Shadow People. If you enjoyed this strange corner of folklore and unexplained, don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with a friend. Until next time, keep your eyes on the hills and in the skies and within the shadows. Until next time, I'm your host, Eric.